Hello and welcome to our Linux series. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create users and groups, then how to assign those users to different groups. Sometimes it happens that maybe one user is in different groups and you want to modify that and remove the user from a group, for example. So we will go through that as well. But first, let's create two users. So if you want to create, there are a number of ways you can do. If you use GUI, there's a way you can do it. But we're doing here from CLI, and there's a command, two types of commands. We're going to do it one of them here. So if you want to create the first user, we call it, let's say, a DevOps user. And the DevOps user will be one of the users that we will use in this lab because this is a series. And then will be another one that's called netsec user. So let's create those users. So we use the command add user. Because I'm using Ubuntu, there's a sudo, part of the sudo users. So if you are not root, then you have to use sudo before the command. Say add user, and we first call the first user devops, or maybe devop user, devop1. So we create a new password. We can accept the default, the full name and all these things, just without all this, quickly just to show you. So we can accept the default. Now we have a user called devops1. We want to create another user, so we use the same command. And if you provide the same command and create netsec1, then we provide the new password for that. Again, we repeat. Okay, the defaults, I'm not gonna fill those in these things. So we have two users now, and if we go to the users, we can list, but let's go one by one and say ID devop1. Then you can see devop is in a group called devop1, their own group, and then users. So we want to create a different group, and we want this user to be part of. And we also want to create another group for the netsec, so network security team, for example. So let's create a group, and we say group add, and we call the first one devops. Okay, so we have to add, as I said, if you're not root, you have to add sudo before the command. Sudo group add devops, and that one's done. Let's add another one, which is netsec. Now we want to assign the users. Let's first, before we do that, let's check ID user. The first one was devop1, but let's see what about netsec1. Now we also see that user is in this group. So what we need to do, add those two different users to the different groups. Here we want to add the first user. If you want to change anything about the user, use the command user mod, and we're adding, so we use a to the group, and then devops, the first one, devop. So devops is the group, and then we add the user after that. So the user was devop1. Okay, again, we need to provide the sudo. I'm forgetting that all the time. Get used to a root user. So sudo user mod, we're adding that, so it adds. Now the next thing to do is add the other user, which is netsec1. This is the group, the netsec, and we're adding the user netsec1. So now both of them are added to their respective groups. Let's check and say ID netsec1, and you can see now this is part of the netsec team in addition to wherever it was. And if we do the second one, which is devop1, it is also in the devops team. So now we have two users and two groups, and we added the two users to the two different groups. And I need to remove one of the users from the group and only assign a single group to that. So let's say ID, and the first one was devop1. And if you see, devop1 is part of the devop1 group and also devops. So what we need to do, I want it to be only here and remove the one that we added. So if you go to the same command we use, so user mod, this is not root user, so always use sudo. And then we say user add user mod, and then -G without the A. And then previously it was in 2 groups, so the only one you want to be part of, let's say this one, we want to write it here. So devop1, that's its original group, and then the user was devop1. So don't get confused, the group is the first and the second one is the user. So you can have devop2, devop3, but the group will stay the same. Now if we ID the user again, you see the DevOps group, which used to be here, it's now gone. So that's how you create users, then create groups and assign the users to those groups. And if you want to change, to modify the user group, then you create, you just remove and assign the only group that you want them to be part of. That's all for this video. Thank you again and see you in another video.